Well, welcome back, everybody. Episode 96 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast, and here we are. I do this in the intro of the actual episode, but I am out here in my bikini on my balcony doing this podcast recording. This episode is a mishmash of different things, stuff to consider as you move through your experience over the next little while. This is the closing of season 2, last episode for season 2. I go through the explanation all in the podcast for you there. We have some dog barking that happens. We've got some dog experiences. We got a truck that goes through. But you know what? I wanted to keep it real today. I wanted to step on and just be here with you. Like normally I wouldn't really record videos in my bikini, but here I am recording videos and podcasts in my bikini because that's what I felt like I wanted to do. And life is all about that. Doing things that feel aligned for you. And not worrying about what people are going to think, and not worrying about whether you look perfect, and not worrying about all the things. Our spiritual evolution is never perfect. It is a shitstorm and a chaotic mess, and all of that is beautiful. So, with no further ado, the last episode of season 2, Light Warriors Unleashed podcast, episode 96. What is up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the podcast. I am sitting outside on my deck here in Costa Rica. I'm actually in a bikini top, so for those of you guys watching the video on YouTube, you're welcome. I'm about to go and wash the dogs. However, they are not ready to come in yet, and if I force them inside, currently at this moment of time, then I want them to go and run and get as dirty as they want to do, they get, so that when I wash them and bathe them, they're down for the count for an hour and a bit. But I was like, well, I'll just record the podcast for today and move it through into the fields of energy. So a couple housekeeping items I want to bring forth into the field. I decided that this is the last episode for season 2. And we're going to relaunch into season 3 in, oh my God, some potent energy, some different landscaping, still with guests coming on. I've already got some stuff booked in the schedule for interviews and stuff coming into April. It's going to be a whole different vibe, and it's going to be really fun to experience season 3 coming out. I wanted to get to episode 100, but I decided this is the last one. Episode 96 is going to be the last episode of season 2. I want to make sure I closed it off as a solo episode to move through the field and into. It gives me a break in April. I got a lot of stuff moving in my field, 2 major programs launching at the end of the month. I have someone coming down for a 1-to-1 retreat here in Costa Rica, and it's just going to give me some space to move within a new level of expansion. So keep an eye out in mid-May for the launch of season 3, and you guys will be getting tons of notice. It'll be going out all over the place when the podcast will be relaunched and coming back into play. But this has been a trip. It's been a year in 2 months since this podcast was launched. The end of February 28th was the first episode that came out in 2023. And over this last year and a bit, it's been a movement within my field. Oh, I guess it's only been a month and 13 months, which is actually even more fun, considering the number 13. And I have had a journey through this podcast, a journey of creation, a journey of meeting really cool people, a journey of deepening different types of friendships, a journey of meeting people where they're at in their truth. And I want to leave you at the end of season 2 with a couple key components for your own movement over this next month and a half until we're back. Now, not to say that this is the be all end all for you, but there's some things moving through the collective energy field that are coming into play right now in our awareness that I just desire you to remember your tools and assets that you have, to remember the pulse within you, to remember that you are supported, to remember that it's okay to let go and to be into your humanness. And it's okay to show all the colors of you, right? And we're really moving through this duality conversation. And I saw a post today. I was like, where did I hear this? I'm trying to remember. I pulled a card so if you guys don't know, I'm on TikTok. And in 2021, I used to do daily 2-3 times a day tarot readings where I pick 3-4 cards, do a channeled message through them. And I have a video up there that's at 107,000 views just from me pulling cards. And I decided about a month ago, no, it wasn't even that, 2 weeks ago, that, and not even, I don't even think, I think it's been 10 days, that I'd start to do a card pull every day. Just a single card. Usually I've done a couple with like twos, but every day I pull a card just in the energy I'm feeling. And wherever people see the video is exactly the right timing, just like this podcast, wherever you hear it, see it, feel it, is exactly the right timing for you to hear this message and bring it into your field. And this morning's card was the card of duality, the Wheel of Fortune, and about honoring all the dimensions to us, honoring all the things, the dark feminine and the light feminine, and honoring the movement within our bitch archetype to our embodied heart archetype. Like, it's like this movement within us. So a couple key things as you move through this next level of your evolution, whenever you hear this podcast is exactly perfect. What is your truth? Who are you really? Two powerful questions. Who are you really, and what is your truth? And are you actually owning them? And if not, how can you take movements to start to own them and move this forward as fast, as quickly, as aligned, as empowered as possible? If you hear the dogs, they're out playing. One of them's here. She's fucking dirty as fuck. But they're playing with their friends down below, doing some crazy shit, probably. And I'm okay with that, because I'm all about liberation, which is my next conversation with you, is about how do I live liberated if I don't also allow my animals to participate in liberation, because that's who they are as Tico dogs. Their parents were strays, so completely off leash, never restrained in life. And I think they came out with that same type of energy. Obviously, I'm doing it in a safety capacity, keeping them safe. They're not out for that long. I always know kind of where they are. Sure, they eat some things that they probably shouldn't be eating, and I deal with the consequences of that choice in alignment, but they feel liberated. They are in liberation. They get to explore. They get to be themselves. They get to have friends. They get to do their thing. And some of you may be like, you're nuts. They're just dogs. And I go, I am nuts. But I'm also nuts enough to think that us as humans can be liberated too. That where in our life right now can we hold an energy of liberation? Can you move to be liberated? Can you hold a space to hold this liberation? How can you do that now as you move through your truth and liberate yourself literally into the world? What does this feel like for you? How does it move through you? What does this mean for you? And there's so much power in this landscape of liberation. So I desire to move that into your energy field today for you to feel, for you to be with, for you to honor as you maneuver forward over these next few weeks, next few months in your life. How can you continue to own your truth and liberate yourself in the process? A couple other things to know. Your intuition is screaming at you to come out. It is playing its violin, and you are not listening to the wine and cheese coming through its strings. I'm like, that is the worst analogy I could have ever used. But you guys laugh at me all the time, so continue to laugh at me now. Be like, Colleen, you're crazy. I am crazy. We are at this pivotal point. You guys have been doing the work. I know you have been. I know you have been, because if you were not, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You wouldn't be stepping into this space. You wouldn't be all in over here in this landscape of things. You wouldn't. You would not have been attracted to a podcast that was like Light Warriors Unleashed. Now, some of you come from my infrastructure, from my content. You've met me. You've been in master classes with me. You've done things with me. So you are here to support the messaging because you love that. But there's some of you that have found this, and you found it through an energetic portal way that called you forth because you've been doing the work. So I want to remind you of trusting yourself in this space. That's actually not my dog. That's the neighbor's dog. I want you to trust yourself in this space of time. How can you deeply listen to yourself? How can you start to trust in the messaging coming in that whisper that's moving through your field? It's not happenstance that I'm teaching a 5-day free masterclass called The Whisper starting on Thursday this week. I know what it means to hold this. I understand the dynamics of this energy. I get and understand the infrastructure of what this is looking like, what this means, how we're moving through this next levels in the collective. We cannot do it, though, in our mind. It has to come from the heart. Right here in this deep-rooted connection of our potency and of our power. Right here in this landscape of things. I wonder what this dog is even barking at. Remembering your truth. Remembering the power of your divine connection within. Remembering who you really are. North America, the system, the matrix has conditioned us to stay tightly contained. And it served us for a long time. It served us in our childhood. It served us as we moved through the world. It served us in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't any longer. We are busting open the boxes of conformity to move an energy through right now. It's here. It's in its landscape. It's calling us forward. It's wanting and desiring us to move within a certain energetic field. It's right here, right now. And we're being literally handheld through the process. If you start to listen and take action, someone's holding your hand through the whole thing. In the purity of your light and the movement of energy and how you show up in the world the whole time. We've got so many spirits down on earth right now, so many energies supporting the experience, so many energies here to support us. And when we feel alone, we're technically never alone. The energies of this, it's all of us in it together. One light lighting other lights, lighting other lights. That's how impact is made. That's how this movement moves through the world. That's how this is showing up. So you are never alone, my friend. And all we have to do now is start to dismantle all of the shit that we've been conditioned to think and step into the space to move stuff forward. That's where we're at. And it sounds easy when I say it to you like this, but I know we're up against our emotions. We're up against the human shit. We're up against our habits. We're up against, our family members. We're up against the infrastructures that we live within. We're up against all of it. I know. But we've purposefully chosen this pathway in the landscape of all this energy. We've purposefully chosen it. And when you start to feel into that, and when you start to move within that, I know we've got a dog party right now. And when we start to move within that, we can then hold the key to maneuvering forward. It's all there. But trust is a big thing. And a lot of you have been betrayed. And a lot of you don't even know how to even fucking do that. And a lot of you are stepping into this space to breathe. But right here, we're up against the next mountain, the next wall. And it's not going to take a big fucking stick of dynamite to blow it up. It's going to take small movements chosen every single day that's going to dismantle it. And one day it's just going to go, boom, no more wall. You're right through. And you're going to be like, holy fuck, here I am. Holy fuck, here you are. So as you move through the next few weeks of your life, as you maneuver through your adventure, as you lean into all these parts of you, as you start to move April into your life, for those of you listening to this in March, if you listen to it the week it's launched, hold space for yourself, but don't let yourself off the hook. Sometimes we're like, well, I'm just going to float today and I'm just going to take it easy, because if those are patterns in your world that you use in order to not get something done, trust me, I understand and get it, because I love to read and I would rather read a book all day than to actually execute some stuff sometimes. And especially when I'm pushed up against like a deadline, even more juicy. But I urge you today to consider, how can you maneuver this forward? How can you shift into this space? How can you really, really evolve? And in that energy is where your potency hits the road, where your impact is made, where all the things move through. So, closing out season 2, Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Firstly, I just want to say how grateful I am for all of you. First-time listeners, long-time listeners, every single one of you makes an impact in this podcast. And like I always say to you guys, every single time I do a recording, help share it out. Take a snap a photo of this and tag me on Instagram and say, I was listening to the podcast and this is what came through. This is what happened. Over the last season 2, how has it shifted in your world? Why do you come here to listen? The movement is real. Light workers meeting light workers, meeting light warriors, meeting light warriors, meeting lightpreneurs, meeting lightpreneurs. And every single time we create a ripple effect in the world, we create a ripple effect in the world. It's that easy, my friends. So, closing out a powerful season 2 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. I will see you guys all again in episode 97 in season 3, coming out in May of 2024. And I love you all. And thank you again for being in my life. And I will see you guys soon.